Val Kilmer was the youngest student ever admitted into the drama department of the prestigious Juilliard School in New York. He has since gone on to star in such memorable films as Jim Morrison in The Doors, the Cape Crusader in Batman Forever, and Doc Holliday in Tombstone. His latest project is the turn-of-the-century thriller, The Ghost and the Darkness, and I'm pleased to have him on this broadcast. Welcome. It's good to see you again.
You too.
Last time we talked was in Washington, and just by coincidence, I happened to have dinner last night with the guy who's a screenwriter, William Goldman, who's a screenwriter for this. Tell me about the story of The Ghost and the Darkness, because it's one of those things that only Bill Goldman would do, is come upon a great story in the 80s, and then later it comes out as a movie.
Yeah, I made the joke a couple days ago when I saw him last that it was probably one of the easiest scripts he wrote, and he said, no, it was, because it's a true story, but so many of the moments that happen in the film happened in real life, absolutely as we depict them. These two lions set upon John Patterson's work project, which was to build a bridge for the British Railway. And I played John Patterson, who was an Irish engineer who shot up through the ranks, became a colonel. By the time he was 27, I think it was. And he loved Africa. He always wanted to go there. The first chance he gets is to build this bridge. And the first day he arrived, a lion attacked a worker. So he's on line to impress the 1,500 people working on the bridge and everyone underneath him. So he says, well, where was it? And he takes a rifle, ties a donkey up, and climbs a tree and hopes the lion will show up again, which it did, and he shot him with one shot, which was a pretty amazing feat to do in the daytime. This is the middle of the night. And he thought his troubles were over until these two male lions showed up and terrorized this camp for 6, 7, 8, 9 months.
Killing?
About 135 people.
Yeah.
Everything they did, though, was as if they were possessed. And it's absolutely true. In the final sequence of the movie, the lion chases me up a tree. It was a real tree. It was really me, and it was a real lion going up the tree. And part of the fascinating part of making the movie is that lions don't do a lot of the things that these lions did. So they had to train them to climb trees or to crawl. Lions don't crawl.
And how do they explain the fact these lions did it?
There is no explanation. It's a mystery. Patterson sure couldn't figure it out. They had a cave. Lions don't live in caves. Leopards usually do. It's just an extraordinary story, and all very metaphorical for man confronting nature and allegorical for what we find. My primary interest in Africa, for example, comes out of the unanswerable questions. It's where our human species come from, and yet we know so little about the continent. And it's by far the most fascinating still in terms of wilderness anyway.
What's your favorite part of Africa?
I've been traveling extensively in the southern region for the last 6 years, all over the last 15 years, for another adventure story that I've been writing. Story of Adrian Bosher, who was an Englishman, adventure started traveling on foot in the mid-50s in South Africa and walked up to Tanzania and back.
With a party or alone?
All by himself. It's an amazing story. It's a true story. In my opinion, he's the greatest adventurer in African history because of his interest in anthropology, metaphysics, archaeology.
And he was in search of answers to questions, or just...
He was in search of everything to do with how exciting life is. He had a love of Africa, which parallels very closely the story of John Patterson. He really loved Africa. And this love, in my opinion, and I hope it comes across in the story, what he confronts about himself and nature, about fear and about courage, enables him to survive.
You say you hope it comes across in the story. You've seen the film.
Yeah.
Does it come across for you?
Yes, but I'm playing the guy, so I'm very...
But I mean, you got on screen, you and the director got on screen what you wanted, your sense of what John Patterson was about.
Well,
his makeup. And
I think so. I think so. He's, you know, being Irish matters in the story, and I think you have a sense of what that kind of formal Victorian era was about initially, and he really becomes an African in his heart by the end of the story. But referring back to Adrian Boucher and that love, it's a love story.
Between a man and a country.
Yeah.
Or a man and a region, and a continent.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel that yourself?
Yeah.
A sense of more than any other place other than the United States?
Well, I like New Mexico a lot. That's home. Ireland gives me that feeling. A few places. Different parts of Hawaii.
I want to come back to you.
A couple of parts of Manhattan.
Like when?
Downtown.
We'll talk about that too. Take a look at this. This is where, set this up. You're explaining to your boss about the lions, how they've killed so many workers. Can you set that up?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what the clip is, but
I'm not either.
But my superior in the story, who doesn't like Africa at all, I've kept him in the dark as far as why our work has gone so slowly. I want to just kill these lions and get on with building the bridge.
Roll tape. Here it is.
Nothing wrong with these people.
They're afraid.
What the hell is going on?
The ghost and the darkness have come.
In English.
It's what the natives are calling the lions. There's a legend here. 2 man-eaters are making all the trouble.
Oh, this is Africa, Patterson. I thought you were a hunter.
It's not that simple. These lions are not like lions.
How many have they killed?
About 30, I should think.
Filmed in Africa, South Africa. Yeah. You met Mandela.
Yes, it was a great privilege. I actually met him once in New York, but seeing him really, truly at home, and it was very moving.
Did he know who you were?
He'd heard of the story I was writing, and he also, of course, knew of our filming of Ghosts in the Darkness, because it's the largest budget ever in South Africa.
Yeah.
And even though it's a Kenyan-Tanzanian story, I was particularly pleased they chose to film down there for both the money it would bring to the country. I've got friends in the film business down there, but because of the environment, there's so much energy.
But most of this was filmed in South Africa?
All of it.
Yeah. All of it. And you lived in a tent, I'm told?
Yeah, I lived on the reserve where we filmed, and with the lion guys, that's what we called them.
What are lion guys?
The lion trainers. Yeah. We had 3 sets from around the world. 1 local lion, but I traveled quite a bit in Africa, so it was pretty luxurious. I had a bathtub outside and a bed, so it's more luxurious than I'm used to traveling down there. But being on the ground with so many varied types of wildlife on the way to work was really extraordinary.
Do you hunt?
No.
Wouldn't? No interest in killing animals?
No, I've been on many safaris that are the same as hunting in looking at and stalking, tracking, you know, to have the experience. It's a bizarre thing, unless you're a hunter, to get your mind around the idea that is, for a hunter who's a real hunter, their primary objective is the unity they have with the creature right before they pull the trigger. This is a hard concept for people who just think,
if you know some of those guys who are really
it's a radical notion today, but in terms of Africa, it is the way that wildlife will survive, because poaching, not hunting, is the killer species now. Abused in the 30s, 40s.
You ever spent any time in the rainforest?
Australian rainforest.
Yeah.
With Marlon Brando last year.
For what film?
In Australia, the island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It's hard not to say that without laughing.
Why?
He makes me laugh.
You like him?
Oh, yeah.
Do you learn from him when you work with him?
Constantly. He's the most eclectic genius I've ever met. I've had good fortune of meeting a few geniuses, but his mind can grip you and fascinate you about water. Look at that water. and off
No,
he
let's
goes.
hear more of that.
2 hours later.
Let's hear more of that.
God, water is the most fascinating thing.
Yeah.
You know, his mind is extraordinary. Extraordinary mind.
Does he talk about acting, though, the craft?
It's not his favorite subject.
I know.
But you know, one thing he is, I think, chronically obsessed with is human behavior.
I know.
The diversity and beyond. You know, we were talking about Mandela one night. He'd met him, and his perception about what behavior betrays. That's his genius.
He watches this program, and he said to me, "I can tell when you're bored and when you're not."
And he ain't lying either. He's like an X-ray machine too. And he says things like that. You sit up straight.
Anybody you want to work with badly, like Brando, that you hope to be able to share the film with or share a stage with?
I felt that way about Robert De Niro. I had that experience with.
What do they have in common?
In common, I mean, any
other than talent.
You know, it's not unique to acting, but both those men have great discipline and rigor about finding out what's important and what's not. You see it, you know, betrayed in other aspects of the way they live their lives, but when they find something that's important, they go after it. It's quite fascinating.
Let me take a look at another clip, and then we want to talk about some other things. Here is, you were hunting down one of the lions, and you come face to face and misfire your gun. Take a look at this scene.
Oh, don't give it away.
Sort of leaves us hanging, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What you started to say, I asked what kind of gun you were using.
That one was a Purdy.
Yeah.
And it's an English gun.
You said this actually happened.
Yeah, the first time he really had one of the two lions between his sights. Rifle was misfired.
Do you like acting?
I like acting in the theater more than films. Films are very tedious in certain aspects for what I enjoy out of it. I like the playing and playing back and forth. And that's very much the experience on stage and in theater, where it's in addition to you and I and what happens between us, the audience is hopefully coming and investing in the experience. And it's the liveness that I enjoy. And that's just becomes harder to do in movies.
Juilliard, was that your idea to come here? Or did some teacher say?
No, I very good fortune. Chatsworth High School, Bob Corelli was extraordinary producer. Mayor Whittingham went there, and several other actors have gone on to do very well. And he just had a very encouraging spirit. But I sent an application to the Royal Academy in London because I thought I'd heard that was the best place to go for classical training. And they said you have to be 18, and it didn't occur to me to lie, so I asked around from the San Fernando Valley, where it's the best school in the United States. And I did fib to my parents because they had auditions in San Francisco, but I wanted a trip to New York, so I said, well, I have to go to New York to do the audition, and I think that helped because I had terrible California dialect.
And after Juilliard and that classical training, and now you are movie star playing Batman, and Jim Morrison, and John Patterson.
Batman.
Well, do you regret that at all, that you're not playing Batman again?
No, I mean, I had a major concern because one of the reasons to do it for my daughter.
For her college education fund?
No, just the fun of it. But, you know, telling her that someone else was going to be Batman, that was kind of tough.
And how did you explain to her that you were not going to do Batman?
I just explained it to her. Yeah,
It
going to do this other
didn't-
movie instead.
Yeah. Could you have done it if you'd wanted to? I mean, were they begging you to do it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, they were very much wanting me to do
It's a
it.
huge, successful franchise.
And, but I'm, you know, very subjective about work. And a film called The Saint came along, and it's familiar from a long time back, that series in book form. I never saw any of the George Sands ones,
right,
but
right.
It was very intriguing because the character plays about 15 characters in the movie. So I met the director and actually turned it down several times because of their schedule, but it came down to scheduling. Because in Batman, they chose to do it again the next year. I mean, right now they're filming. They've already started.
Who's playing Batman? George Clooney.
George Clooney.
Right.
And I was pretty surprised because that's never happened before. Not, you know, sequels are one thing, but franchise is a whole other volume of meaning to it. And they wanted to go right away. And I really, you know, I thought about it. It was a hard choice, but I'm very happy that I did the same. Really enjoyed the experience.
But when you now are a movie star, you know, and at the same time you've got this classical training and interest in character. I mean, you very much wanted to play Jim Morrison. I mean, you made a hard pitch to Oliver Stone for that, yes?
Yeah, a lot of things get mixed in with that. He wanted me to play it as well, but he enjoyed torturing me about, you know, it's not cast yet, that kind of style, which was more fun than anything. What the thing about that story was that I thought it would be the band was so much about being live.
Yeah.
And audience more savvy now about lip syncing and all of that. And I said, you know, if I can sing the songs, that would make a better story, because that's what the band was about. They had no agenda on stage. They were after that theatrical experience. And
You had to convince him you could sing.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah.
And he liked it, in fact.
Yeah.
And did you think, you recorded one song?
No, actually, all of the songs that Morrison sings in the movie are live. I sang them live.
Did they release a tape of you singing the songs?
No,
CD?
no, they released the originals.
Morrison singing the songs, yeah, right. Smart of them.
Might have been something to do with the band. I don't know, but it's kind of a weird thing to sell too.
Would you do it differently if you had it to do over anything?
I've been extremely fortunate, and the more I learn about the business, the more I learn how fortunate, because I've just remained very subjective about work, and tried to remain confident that do a good job in entertaining enough people, like so you get another job, and I've had a lot of breaks that really, career-wise, were lucky for me.
Great to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Val Kilmer, thank you for joining us.